You know, in some ways, being here today and sharing with you all these songs and these dances is just a little bit of the history and the tradition that we've held on to, because those were some of the things that were really affected when we think about Thomas Indian School. So this acknowledgement to me is one way that we can just share awareness, because there's people here and even in Western New York and across the state and across America that don't even know that these things have happened. Many of our nations still carry our tradition of being matrilineal, that we honor our women, firstly with their responsibility of carrying their nationhood to their families. So it's appropriate here that we share with you what we call Eskanye Gainose, the New Women Shuffle Dance. We look at Thomas Indian School and the effects that it had is that it separated our families. It separated our children from their mothers. And so in our traditional way, that was the core of our families. The clans looked to their mothers, their clan mothers, and their aunties and their grandmas for support. So as that changed, we also changed, and now we're coming back around and we're healing and we're reuniting our families.
Thank you. Yahweh, thank you very much. But we gather here on Seneca territory, and we came together to formally recognize on behalf of the state of New York the atrocities that happened here. This is once known as the Thomas Asylum for Orphan and Destitute Indian Children. A name by itself conveys a harshness, a lack of compassion. But over its long, sordid history, over 2,500 students passed through the doors. But instead of being a haven for orphaned children, it became a place of nightmares, a place some would call a torture chamber, a site of sanctioned ethnic cleansing is what was going here. Try to eradicate the long, proud story of the Senecas and other places this occurred from Canada and elsewhere in our country. Children were forcibly removed from their families, stripped of their names, their languages, and their traditions. Sometimes they were subjected to unimaginably horrific physical, emotional, and sexual assaults. These atrocities occurred for more than 100 years. They were known by the state of New York. I cannot change the horrors of the past. I wish I could. I wish I could just wipe it all away. You deserve that. But first of all, by teaching our children today is a first step, making sure they understand what happened then. And that's one of the reasons why, in my budget, I'm insisting that we create new educational materials about the indigenous nations, their histories, their cultures, their contributions. And I want that in our New York's K through 12 schools. So there's a deeper understanding of the people whose land we are on and what they have gone through. That is a first step forward. And in order to avoid repeating the sins of the past, we will acknowledge as a state the role we played. It must include the telling of the truth at what happened at that school. And it must include repatriating those who are lost. And it must include a cultural revitalization and justice. And it must include the healing practices and spiritual ceremonies that were shunned for so long. That's why today, on behalf of the state of New York, I, Governor Kathy Hochul, apologize to the Seneca Nation of Indians and survivors and descendants from all nations who attended the Thomas Indian School. And I recognize, on behalf of the people of this state, the atrocities that were committed there and the enduring trauma that's been inflicted upon the Seneca and all indigenous peoples across our state. And that is why I recommit to the truth, the justice, the reconciliation, accountability, and healing that must begin today and forward into the future. With that, I'll present a proclamation to President Seneca on behalf of the people of the state of New York, acknowledging everything I've just said, but I want this forever enshrined, visible to the rest of the state, that this day occurred, and I will say long overdue, I'm here 2 months after I was asked. Other governors should have preceded me. But here we are today, and I'm honored and privileged to be the governor of a state that has such a rich history because of the people who are here today and those who came before, for we indeed are on their lands. Thank you very much.